Learn vital protocols for infection control and hand hygiene that are crucial for any healthcare or public setting. This course provides an essential foundation for those entering the nursing profession, particularly those preparing for the Certified Nursing Assistant (CNA) examination. Focused on infection control, human body systems, and the critical practice of hand hygiene, the course ensures that learners develop both the theoretical knowledge and clinical competence necessary for safe and effective patient care. Introduction to the Human Body Systems. This module offers a foundational overview of major body systems to help learners understand how infections affect the human body. It includes brief anatomy and physiology of systems most commonly referenced in CNA roles: the circulatory, respiratory, integumentary, digestive, urinary, and immune systems. Understanding these systems is crucial because signs of infection often appear as changes in vital signs or organ function, fever, elevated heart rate, skin inflammation, or changes in urination. CNAs must recognize normal versus abnormal findings and report appropriately to licensed staff. This module sets the groundwork for recognizing infection risks and supporting system-based care. Infection control principles. Infection control is the practice of preventing the spread of harmful microorganisms within healthcare settings. It relies on a system called standard precautions, which assumes that all blood, body fluids, non-intact skin, and mucous membranes may contain infectious agents. These precautions include the use of personal protective equipment, PPE, such as gloves, masks, gowns, and eye protection. The chain of infection outlines how infections are transmitted. It includes 6 links: the infectious agent, reservoir, portal of exit, mode of transmission, portal of entry, and susceptible host. Breaking any one of these links can stop the infection from spreading. For example, wearing gloves breaks the contact between an infectious agent and a susceptible host. Covering wounds, safely disposing of soiled items, and disinfecting surfaces are all part of maintaining infection control. The role of hand hygiene in healthcare settings. Hand hygiene is the most effective method for preventing the spread of infections. The hands of healthcare workers can carry harmful microbes from one patient or surface to another, even if gloves are used. Proper hand washing involves using soap and warm water to scrub all parts of the hands, including the backs, between fingers, under fingernails, and wrists, for at least 20 seconds. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers can be used when hands are not visibly dirty. However, they are ineffective against certain organisms like Clostridioides difficile, C. diff, and should not replace hand washing after contact with bodily fluids or when hands are visibly soiled. The World Health Organization's 5 moments of hand hygiene include before touching a patient, before clean aseptic procedures, after body fluid exposure, after touching a patient, and after touching patient surroundings. Healthcare workers must perform hand hygiene at each of these critical moments to ensure patient and personal safety. Disease transmission pathways. Pathogens are microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites that can cause disease. They can spread through various routes. Direct contact transmission occurs when a person physically touches an infected individual. Indirect contact happens when pathogens are transferred via contaminated surfaces or instruments. Droplet transmission involves larger respiratory droplets from sneezing or coughing, which usually travel short distances. In contrast, airborne transmission refers to smaller particles that can remain suspended in the air and travel farther. Examples include tuberculosis and measles. Other pathways include vector-borne transmission through insects and fecal-oral transmission due to poor sanitation or hygiene. Understanding how a specific disease spreads allows healthcare workers to take proper precautions. For example, airborne infections require wearing N95 masks and placing patients in negative pressure rooms. Aseptic techniques and environmental controls. Aseptic technique refers to procedures that prevent contamination by harmful microbes. In healthcare, This includes sterilizing equipment, maintaining clean environments, and using barrier techniques like gloves and sterile fields. Medical asepsis, clean technique, is used in daily patient care such as bathing and feeding, while surgical asepsis, sterile technique, is used during invasive procedures. Environmental controls play a significant role in preventing the growth and spread of pathogens. Surfaces that are frequently touched, bed rails, doorknobs, IV poles, must be cleaned regularly with approved disinfectants. Proper room ventilation, humidity control, and waste disposal all help limit the survival of microorganisms in patient areas. Caregivers must also be cautious not to introduce pathogens through equipment or uniforms. Uniforms should be clean, and reusable tools must be disinfected between uses to prevent cross-contamination. Cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization protocols. Healthcare settings use 3 primary levels of decontamination: cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization. Cleaning involves the physical removal of dirt, dust, and organic material using soap and water. It is a necessary first step before disinfection or sterilization. Disinfection destroys most, but not all, harmful microbes using chemical agents like bleach or alcohol. This is appropriate for surfaces like bedside tables and stethoscopes. Sterilization eliminates all forms of microbial life, including spores. Methods include high-pressure steam, autoclaving, dry heat, or gas sterilization. It is reserved for surgical instruments and critical care equipment. CNAs may not directly perform sterilization, but they must understand how to handle clean versus dirty items, store them correctly, and avoid placing sterile items on contaminated surfaces. Mismanagement of decontamination processes can lead to outbreaks or patient infections. Practical hand hygiene training and demonstrations. Effective hand hygiene requires more than knowing the steps. It requires consistency and precision. Here are the 6 steps of proper hand washing. Step 1. Palm to palm. Step 2. Right palm over left dorsum and vice versa. Step 3. Palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Step 4. Backs of fingers to opposing palms. Step 5. Rotational rubbing of thumbs. Step 6. Rotational rubbing of fingertips into palms. Training should include practice sessions, using either soap and water or alcohol rubs, while monitoring technique for common errors like skipping thumbs or wrists. Learners must also know when not to use sanitizers, for example, after toileting or when hands are visibly dirty. Mock scenarios, such as preparing food trays, handling waste, or changing dressings, help learners apply proper hand hygiene instinctively. Errors in hand hygiene, even if unintentional, are among the top causes of healthcare-associated infections, HAIs. OSHA, WHO, and CDC guidelines on infection control. Several global and national health organizations issue guidelines that all healthcare workers must follow. OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, requires training on bloodborne pathogens, mandates the use of PPE, and enforces policies to prevent worker exposure to infectious material. Their standards apply to all healthcare settings in the U.S. WHO, World Health Organization, promotes the Global Clean Care is Safer Care campaign and defines core components of infection prevention and control programs, including leadership, guidelines, training, surveillance, and audits. CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, provides protocols for standard and transmission-based precautions, PPE use, vaccination, outbreak response, and safe handling of medical waste. CNAs are expected to be familiar with CDC isolation types: standard, contact, droplet, and airborne. Understanding these guidelines ensures CNAs not only pass certification exams, but also meet safety standards in real patient care situations.